So welcome to Google Slides. Many of you might know Google Slides as the presentation app in Google for Education, but honestly, there's so much more you can do with it. We're going to hope to talk about the features of slides and then also talk about some ways that you can use it in your role. So feel free to follow along with us today with these slides, bit.ly/slides IU14. And these are the same slides that I use with educators when I'm introducing slides in terms of classroom teachers. And so you might see some examples of things that are more classroom based, but through the exploration of the tools, you're bound to find some great uses of slides in your specific role. Legit right now, my daughter is wearing a Halloween costume. Like that is where we are right now. All right, and it was Optimus Prime. So hello, I'm Lynn Hilt, program admin from Office of Professional Development and Curriculum, and we're happy and excited when you join us for learning sessions. Think about today how Google Slides can spark imagination and creation opportunities, how you can use Google Slide to create either instructional tools or flyers or posters or informational items that you might have coming out of your office. And check out the collaborative elements available in slides and just the different uses of slides in digital learning environments. So just like most of our other apps where you can get started with Google Slides is in Google Drive. One thing I like to do, I think I demonstrated this during the forum session, is to type slides.new directly into a new tab, and it will just launch a brand new slides deck for you. I think it would be fun for you during this session if you have the ability to kind of exit full screen from my presentation if you want to play around on your own device and start to create some things in slides if you've never done it before. I could also build a collaborative one we can play around with together. But you can also, at any time, you can view the slides that you've created thus far by typing slides.google.com into your browser. And it's nice because this is the slides homepage, and you'll see templates that are available here. And you can click down on the template gallery, and these are BCIU templates. This is the general template. This should start to look familiar to you because we explored these templates in docs and in forms as well. These are some general templates that are available if you ever have to make student certificates, if you have to put together something for parent night or an informational flyer or a proposal. Or a report, a presentation, all these kinds of things are available to you in the templates gallery. Now, I have a couple of different places online I like to go to for slides templates. And I'm going to share those with you at the end of the session. So here we are, and I actually use Google Slides. So we're living it as this is happening right now. But as you're getting familiarized with the platform, of course, you have a lot of the similar menus that you've seen in other Google products, and you're going to get to know things really well, like the insert menu. Well, the insert menu for slides has a lot of the same features that the insert menu for docs has. And then it also has some unique features, like you can add shapes and videos and audio, and you couldn't do that in a Google Doc, but you can do it in Google Slides. And one of the reasons why I love slides so much is because it is truly like more of a desktop publishing platform than Docs is. You have free range over the object placement. You can add free text boxes. You're not tied to a cursor or anything like that. and then you can move and drag and arrange and layer all of the things that you might need in your presentation or on your creation, whatever you're making. So you'll get to know the spaces like the thumbnail browser on the left-hand side. All of your toolbars all your tools will appear on the toolbar here. This toolbar will constantly change based on what you're editing. Sometimes that's irritating to people, but for example, right now in this demo picture, I don't have any objects highlighted. This is actually showing me the buttons that are related to the slide layout. I could pick a new layout, I could pick a new theme. But if I'd go ahead and I would click something in my slide, now my tools have changed quite a bit because now I'm inside a text box. So if I've highlighted this text box and I want to work with it, now I can change the color of the text box. I can change my font, my size. This is way more exciting than it should be for me, but they just added a plus and a minus button for changing the size of the font while you're working. It's something I've only dreamt about, and now it's here. So that's there, all the fun, typical things. So we're going to go through all of the formatting tools, but what I wanted you to know is that don't panic if your stuff disappears, because when you're not clicked on an object, you see what you see for the slide. If you click on a picture, which is what this is, now I see picture options. So this will constantly change depending on what you're editing. I'm still here. There's a Halloween costume emergency. All right. So just like the other slides, we have the share button. The other apps you can share with an individual. You can share with a live link. There are a couple more options for publishing in Google Slides that we'll talk about, because you have this option of publishing the presentation mode of the slide deck versus the actual file. And we will talk about just some different views in here. If you're accustomed to using PowerPoint and you like to use the speaker notes area, there's also that available in Google Slides. So when you're talking about the slide menu, it's important to talk about understanding how the layouts of your that you're using are tied to the theme that you've chosen. So once you choose a theme, you're going to see a number of layouts that are associated with that theme. And this is kind of like an advanced type of suggestion, but when you're working in the slide menu, all of the design that happens with the theme of the slide happens on the master slides. And at any time, if you want to tweak something that's located in the theme, for example, if I don't really love this shade of yellow and I would like to change it to another shade, now I would never do that for this case because these are the official Google colors and I designed it that way. But at any point, you can go into the master and you can make changes to the master layouts. And once you do that, it will apply them to all the rest of the slides wherever you used it. So there's no orange in the logo. So if I change this to orange, if you notice on the left-hand side, all of my slides that used to be green are now orange. So let me undo that before I get that. So if you ever want to match a slide design to your school colors, if you want to add a watermark at the bottom that's your school name and a mascot image or something like that, the master slide is where that happens. So that's like a little trick for designing in your layout space. But in this particular theme, this was one that I chose from an outside website. And if I click on layout here, these are all the available layouts that came with that theme. I, of course, can design one from scratch if I want to. And then here again are all the layouts. So to add a new slide, you can either click this plus sign, you can use the shortcut Control M, and you can also go into the slide menu. So remember that we said before, there's lots of ways to do the same thing in Google. You can either try keyboard shortcuts, use the menus, or use the toolbar buttons. The slides will be built here, and you can view them in thumbnail view, but you can also view the grid view, which I kind of love because it lists it out this way. And if you're looking overall big picture at what you've created and you think, you know what, this really should go over here, that's the type of move you can make more easily here. This is also a fun way to see who is creating on the slides at the same time as you. Because if I gave permission to someone else to edit this and they opened it up, I would see their little picture pop up on the screen. So I know this is a favorite of teachers who assign collaborative slides to their kids, because then they can keep an eye on who's doing what on the slides. So let's explore the insert menu kind of bit by bit, because this will show you exactly what you can put into slides. And of course, I'm going to get rid of my little friend there. Images, you have seen this menu before. If you've been at any of our other sessions or any other Google sessions, the image menu, either from here, insert image, or from the image button right here, will give you these options. You can upload something from the computer, you can search the web, or you can go into any of these spaces for your image, including take an image with your camera. I'm just going to go to search the web, and today I'll search for penguins. And so here we have some penguin pictures. This one's really cute. If I click the little preview button, looks like a magnifying glass, I get a bigger look at the image, and I can also see the licensing. These are labeled for commercial reuse with modification. So this is an image that you could feel free to use in your educational work. This is actually from Wikimedia Commons, so I know that it's safe. If I wanted to triple check the licensing on that picture, I could click on that link, and then I could find out the exact license, which is Creative Commons. Under these attributions, under these conditions, I have to give credit, a link to the license, and I have to indicate if changes were made. So the link to the license is here, and I could actually copy this whole thing, which would link to the license. I can put that in. The other thing it should do, let me just check if it does. It didn't. It will do it with the Explore tool. Is sometimes if you use the Explore tool, which I'll show you, it'll tag the image with its source. So there we go. We've been attributed. Okay, so images, pretty straightforward, and I am going to talk about the Explore tool separately. Audio and video are great additions to slides, and it's one of the reasons why it's such a dynamic tool for classroom teachers. But even if you or your principal team are developing some kind of mini learning exploration, and you need a place to put video links, links to readings, things like that, slides is a great place to do that. You can essentially create little mini explorations. So audio is a relatively new addition to Google Slides. One thing that you have to know about adding audio is that it has to be audio that is saved in your Google Drive if you'd like to add it to your slide. So I'm going to go ahead and just make a new slide to practice on. The way that I prefer to add quick audio clips to slides is to use a free service called Vocaroo. And the reason I like it is because when you visit Vocaroo, there's absolutely no logging in, there's no sign in, there's no sign up. You just click to record. Hey, it's Lynn. I hope you're enjoying the Google Slides session. And at this point, you can listen to it. And now when you're ready to save and share, you have lots of options. You can share with a link. You can get an embed code. You can download it, which is what you need to do if you want to get it into slides. And there's all sorts of ways, QR code and this and that. So I downloaded that file, and my next step is to get that file into Google Drive. So if you're reviewing your Google Drive, know how you can do new file upload and go find that Vocaroo file, or like I would just drag and drop it. Whenever you download something in Google Chrome, it pops up on that bar at the bottom of your browser. And right from that bar, you can just click and drag and drop it into Drive, and it will go in there. So I'm going to see in the bottom right that it has been uploaded. I want to see where it is, if it went where I told it to go. And now back to my slides. I'm going to say insert audio, and it's going to start searching my drive for any audio files. Here's the one I just did today. And it creates a little play button, little audio button. Now on the right-hand side, you have the option of telling the slide to play this audio as soon as you arrive on that slide, or if you'd prefer to have it play when someone clicks on it. You can make it stop when the slide changes. You can continuously loop the audio. So I'll just do it automatically for now. And we'll see what it looks like when we're in play mode. It looks like I left the old one here too. This was a click to play.
Hey students, I'm so happy you're here today.
Enthusiasm 101.
Read this text.
Okay, and now here's what it plays like automatically.
Hey, it's Lynn. I hope you're enjoying the Google Slides session.
Now, we got a great question last session that made me kind of look up how to even do it, because I knew you could do it. I just wanted the specifics. And the question was, maybe you create slideshows for grade levels or end of the year activities or field day or whatever. And wouldn't it be nice to play some audio in the background of the whole thing? And yes, and you don't want to have to add little audio clips the whole time. So if you go to the first slide where you would like the audio to start playing, just insert that file. Of course, make sure that you're using copyright-friendly music. Choose automatically. Choose the uncheck box, stop on slide change, so you don't want the music to stop, essentially, as the slides are changing. And I made like a sample presentation of what that looks like. It's called background music in slides. And when you present it, so as you can see here, this is just more examples, but we can listen to the music then. And I don't know if my audio is coming through, but let me see. I never know if my audio is going through, but if it is, I hope you're enjoying this happy-go-lucky music. So you can hear that it goes through. So all you have to do is uncheck that box and then make it play automatically, and you've got yourself a happy-go-lucky slideshow end of the year, which is kind of fun. All right. For all of your organizational purposes, your graphic organizers, your flow charts, your planning templates, timelines, hierarchy charts, org charts, any of that good stuff. Instead of building from scratch, which you can do because there are shapes and lines in Google Slides, you could take advantage of the diagrams, the built-in diagrams. I love the diagrams feature. Let me pop out so I can show it to you. When you go to that insert menu, diagram, this is a recent addition in the last 2 years too. There are 6 sections of diagrams you can add. So there's a grid section, hierarchy, timeline, a process chart, relationships, and cycles. So if you were looking at building an org chart for your school, these are the different styles that are there, and then you could click on one. You can choose how many levels you would need, and it will change the look of it, and you can change the color that's associated with it. Click one time. The whole thing's going to be entered into your slide. All right, I'm actually going to do that on a clean slide here. Click, enter the chart that you've chosen, and now this is fully editable. So you can double click in, go in. You can make any changes. You can move things around if needed. This is adjusting the connector lines and things as you move things around. So this is a great way to just kick off and get started with some design work without having to build from scratch, which is always welcome. So that is the insert diagram menu. All right, what other fun things can we add? We can add shapes and lines, of course. What's nice about if you are building from scratch is that there's a large menu of shapes available. There are many lines, including freehand lines, which I'll show you. And when you pull out lines and you're looking to connect, you're going to actually see purple dots emerge on your shapes, and those are like your connect the dots. So you can start a line here and you can drag it to a rectangle to make that connection. And it's pretty intuitive how it works. When I click on a line and I move my cursor anywhere near a shape, those circle dots pop up, and now I can grab one and now I can connect it where it needs to be connected. Now, I did talk about freehand drawing on a slide, and there's a line that is useful for that. It's called scribble, and not all of us are skilled at scribbling freehand with a mouse or with our trackpad, so definitely more useful for some than others. But if you choose the scribble line, it will allow you essentially to draw freehand in this space. So I could kind of sign my name, and then it will save like an object. So I can drag and drop and move that around. In the absence of any other tool, it can be like, that was not a good one. It can be an electronic signature space if you would need it to be for whatever reason. And you get pretty good with practice. And then you could just click to delete that. But if students are interacting with the slide, that's one thing I know teachers are using that scribble line as like a way for them to circle things or draw things. So insert, we've done a bunch of these. I didn't skip video. Did I skip video? Oh, I had audio and video on the same slide. So we'll go back to video. We talked about audio. So video options, you used to only be allowed to put YouTube videos in your slides, but now you can add video from Google Drive as well. So if you've done any kind of video creation, you can save that video to your drive and you can upload it into your slides. And there are advanced video options, including you can pick the start and end time that you want the video to show. So maybe there's this great video that you're putting in a presentation that's going to kick off an assembly, but your principal said, you know what, I only really want the first 8 minutes of this video to be shown. So when you're in there designing, you can end at minute 7:59, and then it won't go into the 8th minute. You can have it autoplay when you're in presentation mode, and if for some reason you just want to show the video imagery but not the audio, you can mute the audio. So the way that looks is, go to my play slide, insert video, and you have, right away you have a YouTube search field. You can certainly search here by keyword, or if you know the YouTube link that you would prefer to insert, you can just paste that there. Lots of times I will search for Elmo's World for my demo. Select and it pops in. You can preview it when you are in this space. Up on the right-hand side, here are those video playback options that I was talking about. So if you want to start it at a certain time and end it at a certain time. And if you want to preview it, you can double-click in editing mode. Okay. Then same command for adding video from your drive. Insert video, and Google Drive is right here. It's going to start scanning your drive for any applicable videos. I have a couple of network teacher videos here. Here's one from a G Suite Creative, so you can click that. And so this was a session that I ran and recorded and saved it as a video and saved it to my drive. So now that's in there as well. All right, so a couple of different video options for Google Slides. We have the classic, the beloved WordArt in slides. If you've been a digital creator from the beginning of time, you have used WordArt. And the difference between adding WordArt versus adding a text box and fancying up the text is that WordArt acts like an object. So you have the ability to format it in ways that really aren't applicable to text box work. And it looks a little bit different when you add some word art. Insert word art, you just basically get this box at the top, and that's where you enter your text. Hooray for slides. And when you're done, you click enter, and it's going to give you kind of this default looking word art. It's kind of boring. So what you can do, and if you notice, I'm clicking and dragging the edges, so that's how I can handle the resizing, because it acts like an object. So I'm not really putting like a text size, a font size. I'm going by pulling the edges to resize it. Now I can, of course, change the type of font. So if I want something a little more exciting, I can do that there. And I can change the fill color of the text, and I can change the outline color of the text. So this can get to be, you know, a little more fun and funky depending on what it is that you're doing. So gotta love WordArt, gotta love it. And that's there for you, okay? Now, when it comes to formatting things like pictures, like images and photos, shapes, there are many object formatting tools that are out there. I'm going to bring in just a new image of something that I can mess around with. So I'm going to go to search the web, and I'll just search. This time I'm going to do clip art of penguin, so it's a little bit cleaner. All right, so we'll mess around with this guy. Now, when I have this picture selected, highlighted, I have a couple of tools up here that I didn't have before for non-objects. So one of those is I can mask my image. I can crop it. You can also crop it anytime with a double click. And if you double click, it's going to show you a black set of corner edges and lines. And when you click and drag those, that's when the cropping happens, okay? But you don't just have to crop with the boring old rectangular crop. You can mask it with a shape. So if you just wanted to isolate this adorable little penguin's face and crop as a little circle of his face, now my crop is in a shape. So sometimes I'll see people do things like crop a student's picture into a star or something like that because they're star student for the week or something like that. Then let me get rid of the mask. Reset. Okay. Now the other things you can do are either with a right click, you can go through any of these options, crop, replace the image, add to theme, all that kind of stuff. But for you, checking out the format options is really important. So now you have more control over the exact size of the image. You can scale it. You can do your flips and your rotations and all that good stuff. You can set a specific position on the page, including things like from your arrange menu, centering it either horizontally or vertically, depending on what you're designing. I use that a lot, arrange, center on page. You can order all of the things on your slides, the images, the text boxes, the shapes into layers front and back. And there is a recolor option for some of your objects. Depending on the source of this, I'll be given a range of different colors that are changeable in that. So it looks like the black and white are pretty much set in stone, but with the recolor tool, I can change them to blue or green. So there are certain things you can do there. If you have a color photo, you can always remove that saturation and use a black and white. That will work for that. So that's kind of cute. And then you can adjust. You can adjust the brightness, the contrast. You can make it more transparent if you're going to put text on top of it later. So those are the adjustments. And to make it more visually appealing, you could add a drop shadow. You could add a reflection. So every time you're dealing with an object, and all of these are objects, these are screen captures that I use, so they're considered images, I can add a drop shadow to that. I can add a reflection to that. Whether it's a photo, a clip art, a screenshot, you have all of those features with the object formatting. So earlier I mentioned this whole idea of the Explore tool, and I know that Josh has showed you the Explore tool in Google Docs. Well, the great news is that the Explore tool is also available in Google Slides. Now, Google Slides Explore tool does something a little bit extra fun. If you pull it up, we'll see if it works with this particular slide. Sometimes it does not. It will take a slide that you have, and it will kind of scan it and see what's on there. And it will recommend, here we go, this is one it liked. It will recommend a different layout for you based on the content that you've done. Now this one looks kind of weird and boring from its suggestions. Let me see if, no, this one doesn't have any text. Most of the time it works when there's text and an image, and it can, this one is a good example. So I have a heading, and I have one image, and now Slides is saying, hey, wouldn't it look cool if you designed this slide this way? Or wouldn't it be neat if we built it out like this? So it's making some suggestions for me based on the content that I have. That is the first kind of purpose of the Explore tool in Slides. But the other purpose that we talked about before in the docs and the sheets intro is this idea of searching for web content, for images, and through your Google Drive for content that you can use in your slides. So the web results will give you whatever you search for in the keyword. And now here in the images results, these are copyright friendly images. When you use an image from the Explore tool, again, the link to the authentic source is the top left. When you use the Explore tool to find your image, it will tag it with a link to the source of the image. So it takes that attribution kind of burden off of you, where you can just keep the link associated with the picture, so that if somebody was curious about where that came from, they could click on it and find all the licensing and all that information that you might need. So these are from the public domain, or they're from Creative Commons licensed collections. And then it will also search your drive for any related keywords that you have in there. Now, I'm here to bust some myths about slides. And one of those is that, you know, Google Slides and PowerPoint, they're all just boring, like slide presentations. I don't do presentations very much, so I don't have any use for slides. But did you know that in Google Slides, you don't have to use a slide sized canvas? You can customize the size of this working space to anything, to any dimensions that you want it to be. So if you're looking to design a monthly newsletter, or you want to design a resume or a flyer that is available to be printed 8.5 by 11, you can do it. You just change the set of the slides. So if I start up a new slide deck, and if I want to start designing, but I want to start designing in 8.5 by 11, then I'm going to go ahead and go to File, and then Page Setup. Page Setup. Now it is going to default to widescreen or standard, but I'm going to say no thanks. Let's do custom. And now I can pick my custom size. You might be doing something specific for like a large print. So you might do like whatever the large print size is, like 11 by 14 or bigger. And when you click apply, it's going to change your canvas size. This is something that if you would download as a PDF and send to your print services, it would print beautifully. It's 8.5 by 11. But the same tools are here. I can add all my text. I can add my shapes. I can add whatever else my images, and I can build this with much more freedom than I can in a Google Doc. And so that's why Slides is so great. One of the reasons. In order to make your productivity life easier, I like to point out these two keyboard shortcuts. And they're the keyboard shortcuts that when I'm designing slides, I use all the time. And one of them is Control D. Control D is like a copy paste, but all in one move. It's the duplicate command. So if you are designing something and you consistently are repeating elements, rather than copy paste, just Control D and duplicate that. Control K is your friend because that will help you add links to your content. The insert link menu button looks like a little keychain link, and Control K will quickly get you to that link space. So why is linking so important in Google Slides? I'll go back to the background. It's important because you can create a link pretty much out of anything you add to your slides. You can link images, you can link text, you can link to the web, or you can link out to other slides in your deck. Now, this morning I did a session about blended learning, and I'm going to pull up those slides because what I didn't realize when I started building from this template is that whoever created this template went crazy with the amount of links in the set, and also with the amount of transitions. Like stuff is just flying in. I promise you I would not spend that much time on transitions. But all of these are like little sticky menus that if I click on them, it will take me to that section of the presentation. Again, I am not taking any credit for this. In fact, I almost stopped using it because it just was like too much for me. But at any point, I can go back to the table of content. I can click on the arrow and go to the next one. I can click on and more. I don't even know what half this, I don't even check all of them, to be honest with you. But the menus work great. I'm not sure that the arrows move great. I didn't check them all. But you can set up links to go through in whatever order or to whatever website you're interested in doing. And to do that, let's say it's this word images. I want to take you somewhere when you click on that word. I can highlight my word. My mouse, like sometimes it's like, oh, let's play a joke on Lynn. You can use the link button, or you can use the right click, which I won't because of my traitorous mouse, or I can Command K, Control K on a PC or a Chromebook, and here's my space where I decide where do I want to send people when they click on the word images. Well, maybe I want to send them to the school website, berksiu.org, and I'm going to click apply so that when they're out on the web and they visit this says berksiu.org, they're going to click on it, and now it's going to keep the slideshow open, which is really nice, but it's going to take them to our beautiful new website at berksiu.org. Now the other feature, I'm not sure if you noticed that when I was editing this, but let's remove that link and try again. Images, I'm going to do my link command, and now there's a little sub menu there. It says you want to send people to slides in this presentation, and if you drop that arrow down, now I can pick whatever slide I want, and I could send people to that slide. Let's find out what slide 23 is. Now it's not going to take them to the web, it's going to jump them to a different space in my presentation. Okay, so when you're linking, it can be magical to send people to the web, to create a collection of resources all in one place, and or to create movement throughout your slide deck. Going back to the background of your slide, some themes have very specific backgrounds that are set in the master. For example, if I tried to change the background of this right now, we wouldn't know it because the master background kind of takes precedence of that. But to change the background of any slide, you can click on the background button and you can upload your own image to the background. Let's go to the play one to do that. You can choose an image that you have saved. You can go into the search, Google image search. So maybe I want a picture of like the beach for my background. See what they come up with. Sweet. It might get a little stretched because of my size of my canvas. Just do this one. Insert. And now it will apply that background. Nice. Who wouldn't want to be there right now? To that space, okay? Yes, Josh, graph paper is also fun. Not as fun as beach paper, but since he said that, let's change the background to graph paper. And I'm assuming, Josh, I can just find graph paper in the search. You would know. Graph paper or dot paper might be fun. Let's do that. So many fun things I can do now with that. So many fun things. I'd rather have fun here. Or you can just do a piece of, or a color. If you're looking to design something that has a consistent color, you can just pick a color. You can also choose a gradient color. That's something that people miss sometimes. Next to your colors menu, there's also gradient colors, just to make life more fun. Yeah, true. You could put your school emblem in the back if you're designing letterhead or something. So many good ideas. So many uses of Google Slides. The best. So there are ways, like I was showing you in that thing I used this morning, for making like pretty fun types of animation in your slides. You can, of course, add GIFs, which brighten everyone's day. But there are transitions that you can do between the slides, and then you can animate objects to fly in or fade in or appear or turn, all that good stuff. So that would be in your motion menu. Whenever you're looking to add an animation to an object or to a slide, you can play around with that fun stuff there, which I was just doing just to show you what you can do. We did talk about the grid view and viewing all of the slides in real time, but something else you want to think about, and I know we've talked about version history before, because there is always that fear that if you're co-building with someone and they perhaps delete something that was really important to the project and should not have been deleted, you can go into the version history of the document and you can see the life of the document from its current version all the way back to that day when it had just begun. Okay, so this is where you, and I had done this. It's funny that's what it was. This is not the original. I had made the original on my other Google account, and then I made a copy of it. So that's what you're actually seeing here. I made a copy of my original into this account. Which is kind of cool. But then you can see on any of the days, like when I did this session, I probably added some here, I added those diagrams during my session. So you can see, and if there were any other collaborators, their names would be listed here and their colors would be indicated their changes would be indicated by a different color, which is pretty cool. So I'm not going to restore that. Let's get out of there before something crazy happens. So let's talk about publishing and sharing to wrap up. You have a lot of download options with Google Slides. You're not limited to keeping this creation in Google Slides. If for some reason you would need to get your finished product as a PowerPoint, you have that option here. If you need it as a PDF, you can download it. You can download individual slides as image files, as JPEGs or PNG. And for any of you doing sophisticated graphics design, you can get them out as SVG. If you're using any kind of the Adobe suite and you need that, you can get it as that. You can also import slides from other places. So if you have a PowerPoint slide set built, you can bring those slides in and then you can just tweak it and publish it here. And then your publish to the web is a command that you want to use when you want people to be able to see the published presentation view of your slides. You don't really want them in here looking at the thumbnails on the left-hand side. So this is what they'd see with the published slides. So I'm sure you've seen this before where you were given a link and you're taken to a published site. And you can go in here and just go through, and there's a menu down in the bottom left where you can feed through the slides. You can click and you can jump around and all that good stuff. So this is a published link. Sometimes this is exactly what you want to send to people. You just want the presentation out there. Once it is published, it stays published. If you make changes, those changes will be updated automatically. You don't have to go in and republish it. It's another great reason why Slides is so clutch for communication from schools. Now, here's the next great tidbit too about presenting. If you are sharing a set of slides, if you are opening up back to school night, meet the teacher night, something about a school-wide activity, and if you or your administrative team are sharing with parents, you can go ahead and press that close captioning button, and you can have the captions automatically added to the bottom of slides while you are presenting. You can also do this while you are creating a screencast with Google Slides. So maybe you run your slides in presentation mode, you turn on closed captioning, and then you start recording your screen, and that video is something you could add to your school website or whatever it is you're doing. But now you have that extra layer of accessibility for people who need to see the text along with viewing the slides. I love this. I also love the idea of hosting things in YouTube because there are closed captioning available in something like 73 languages or something too. At this time, you can't translate closed captioning in slides, but I know it's been requested a lot of times. But that is definitely a feature that you want to take advantage of if you are presenting. I think it's only ever once accidentally cursed at me. Another feature that you might use if you are helping to facilitate an audience session is the Q&A. And this is a wildly underutilized feature of Slides. It's actually hidden kind of up here to the right of the present button. There is an arrow, and you can go into presenter view. And presenter view looks like, if you've ever done a presentation with PowerPoint, you can pull this type of view up as well. This is something you'd keep on your display as you extend the presented slides on a projector or a big TV, wherever you're presenting. And in the audience tools, speaker Q&A gives your audience a chance to speak their mind, share their ideas during your meeting. And it publishes a link at the very top of the slides. So if Jill, if you could type that into the chat for me, I know it's kind of long and annoying, but if you can type that in, and if anybody wants to visit that link, it's slides.app.goo.gl/NKY E9. That link is associated with my slide deck. And when you get there, you're going to be taken to a Q&A page. It looks like this. And now you can go ahead and type in here, ask a question. You can ask anonymously if you wish. So I'll give you a second if somebody wants to pop something in there, and then I can show you what that looks like from the teacher standpoint. Anyone? What? Permission. That would be strange if you needed permission, but let me see if this works. Okay. This is what this says. I never had to give permission for one of those before. On my presenter view, now what I see is that, oh, here, Jill's thing came in. There we go. I have a question. So Jill has a question, and let's say we're presenting my slides, and let's say a really great question comes in. Josh's is not great. So what I would do is click present, And now I can share Jill's question with the whole audience and say, you know what, this is a really insightful question from Jill. I'm really glad she asked this. Let's talk about it together. And if they ask anonymously, their name won't appear here. This is what you deserve. You get to, you have to, this is an inappropriate response in the slides Q&A. This would be a helpful, constructive question. What slide are we on? And I can say, oh, we're on slide 24. All right. At any time as the presenter, I can turn that feature off and I can stop accepting questions as we're moving through. So it's called a back channel, and it's a way to get through that audience Q&A. Now, so for those of you who weren't able to comment, it might be locked down to the Berks County organization, the IU organization, which is interesting because I never had that happen to me before. But again, I haven't used the IU Google account outside of that for that before. So that makes sense. It might be locked down to your domain, meaning you can only use it with kids or other teachers. Yeah, I agree. So for other ideas to extend the use of slides, if you've not yet attended any of our sessions about screencasting, I think Screencastify or Loom are like a really good partner for using slides to publish presentations or information. And honestly, sometimes all it takes is some front loading of information from the office to help alleviate a lot of the questions that you get, phone calls that you get. And it would be great to develop like a beginning of the year or mid-year, dare I say, state of the school office where you can just give everybody an update and heads up, and just it would be great to run through some slides and record it and share that with your community members. Now, a lot of these are applicable to classroom uses, some of these examples, and just to run through, just so you can see the different designs that are available, but teachers are using them for choice boards, for flow charts, for graphics. A lot of the work that teachers are doing now in the distance learning space have been set up with slides just because it's so easy to design. But if you're building any kind of visual schedules or calendars for school events, these are fun things to do. There's a whole extension called HyperDocs for instruction, where teachers are designing little mini explorations inside the docs or slides using the features that are available. It's like old web quests that we used to do, but you can package explorations for learning in a digital format, and right now it's just been really helpful for teachers reaching students. And then teachers are even using them for things like interactives, manipulatives, sight word works, money and shopping activities, math manipulatives work, and all of these things can be used in Google Slides, and students can drag and drop and move things around as they're learning. We created your digital notebook in Google Slides, and we're adding your tasks that you should practice completing and links to other resources. We're putting the videos right in there. So it's just a great way to compile information all in one place. And of course, it's a great option for building choice boards. It couldn't be easier to put in text, images, links to things that kids need, and then build out just a really fun learning experience for them. If your students are ever publishing and you're in charge of kind of bringing that all together, it's a great place for digital storytelling, bringing in pictures with student writing and audio to go along with that. Even some, sometimes with budgets and things, we're getting away from paying yearbook companies or paying other expensive companies. We can start to put together some, school memories or department memories of our own. And so those are the types of things that we're exploring with the use of slides in creative ways. There are some add-ons available for Google Slides. Most of them involve bringing content in from other spaces, like the Unsplash collection of photos or Noun Project icons. Pear Deck is an instructional add-on that's really cool for getting engagement and Nearpod as well. So if you're interested in seeing more creative add-on tools, you could check out the list there or view what they have in the marketplace. And if you need at any time a more creative space for drawing, because if the scribble tool didn't really do it for you, Chrome Canvas is a web-based app with just some simple drawing tools. You can see I've been very busy here with these giraffes, but you can create new from an image. You can create a new drawing. If you just need a simple space to tweak an image or to just draw something freehand, or if some of your students are designing, there's a logo contest, or I don't know, whatever it is that they need. This has chalk and fountain pens and things that are more sophisticated drawing tools than are what in just the app itself. So I like to point that out for fun. And of course, auto draw. When I get to the end, there's like 3 minutes and I have so much fun planned. I just can't believe it. It's so much fun. Auto draw. This is great because if you ever find yourself designing something, or you're given a directive like, hey, we really need a flyer for the flower sale that FFA is doing, so can you just throw something together? And you're like, yeah, you just throw something together. So you start to draw like a flower, and then you realize, oh man, I'm not a great artist. If you look at the top of my screen, here is what AutoDraw is viewing as a suggested item that I might want to use instead of what I created. So now I can turn this into something way better that I can use for my FFA flyer for whenever they're selling their good stuff. So that is auto draw. You pick the magic pen, you start drawing. Oh, your seniors are doing a car wash and you need a picture of a car. Oh my gosh, that's gonna be hard. Let me find a picture of a car. Oh, look at this, car wash. Okay, so I did that in 30 seconds versus going to Google Images and trying to find a copyright friendly picture of a car. These are all copyright friendly. I can go ahead and I can fill it to the colors that I choose, the lines, black, the lines and the colors, and then I can add text, and I can say car wash on Thursday, and I can change all the font and all that good kind of stuff too. Okay, and then I can save it. I can download it as a picture, and I can pull it into a Google slide for printing, or into Google Drawings or Google Docs or whatever. So I can download it, I can share it in other ways. So that is AutoDraw. It's amazing. And the place to go, if you are going to be falling in love with slides, like Danny and I have, if you've attended any of our sessions, these are our 3 go-to sites for slide decks. So Slides Carnival was kind of the original place I started visiting, and just this year, Slides Mania and Slides Go have taken over the digital learning realm. But Slides Carnival has a number of different slide decks. What I want you just to know about these sites is that they are free for you to use the slides, but there are dozens of ads all over the place. So for example, I might be tempted to click on the start button for whatever reason. Don't click on it unless you really do need a media converter. There are all sorts of ads for different businesses and things here. What you need to focus on is using the things at the top to find slides that you like. And when you think you find one that you like, you can click on it. You can get a little preview. Advertisement, advertisement, advertisement. You want to look for this, the slides, and then either download as PowerPoint or use as Google Slides theme. So the more you use it, the more you're going to find exactly where you need to go, and you're not going to click on any, and they're not nefarious. They're just trying to get you to download their PDF converters. So this is your presentation title. You get a nice preview. You can view the whole thing. And if you want to use it, there's a button top right, use template. And that will then make a copy for you and put it in your Google Drive, and then you can create it and make it all your own. So check those out if you're interested in doing more with slides. And I'm really happy that you joined me today to chat about slides. It's one of my most favorite tools ever. bit.ly/IU14 session feedback. If you have any particular feedback needs or ideas for future sessions, let us know and fill that out to get your Act 48. And if you have any questions, I'm going to wrap up the recording and we'll open it up for Q&A. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to reach out to Lynn Hilt at berksiu.org if you need anything.